before we start, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who's helped me get to 1,000 subscribers. 1,000! It's bonkers. Thank you for all of your words of encouragement and support. I really do appreciate it. And thank you also for your creative ideas for videos that I can make going forwards. Keep them coming. I love to read them. Thank you once again. Hello, welcome. Come on in and make yourself nice and comfortable. Welcome to the sleep clinic. Have you been to a sleep clinic before? No. Okay. Well, what we're going to do today is simply take down the answers to a few questions and get you thinking about what you can be doing to get the best night's sleep. Once we've put all this together and you've been away and tried some of these techniques, we'll invite you back in for a sleep trial. But until then, today it's a little bit about getting to know you and about your sleep and chatting through the best things that we can do for you to get you snoozing at home. Okay? Excellent. So, we'll start with the easy questions. Just confirm your name for me, please. Thank you. And your telephone number, please, just to check we've got that right. Yeah, mobile preferably, thank you. That's fine. Today's date. Okay. So tell me what you do for your job. Okay. Okay. And is there anybody else available who we can speak to about your sleep patterns, sleeping habits, things like that? And some contact details for them. Again, a mobile number is fine. Fantastic, thank you. So, let's begin with the part that everybody hates. Let's talk about snoring. Tell me, with your snoring, is it every night, most nights, or occasional nights? And be honest. Okay. And is it all night or part of the night? Okay. Odd question now. Is it nasal or throaty? You have to think about that one. And is it when you're laid on your back or is it in any position? Okay. Now then, you might not know this. It might be a partner that's told you this. Are there times where you stop breathing at night? And if so, never, sometimes, or frequently? Yep. How frequently? Okay. Do you have regular or body movements at night all around the place, or with your arms and legs? Yep. Okay. So when you're not busy during the day, do you feel sleepy? sometimes during the day, do you find yourself falling asleep when it's not really convenient? Okay. So when we think about becoming sleepy when we don't want to be sleepy, what about when you're driving? Have you ever had to pull the car over? Have you ever had to stop what you're doing because you're that tired? Okay. And how often? Okay. Have you ever had an accident or a near miss when you're driving because of that sleepiness? Okay. And how often has that happened? Okay. Okay. A third of the way there. Okay. So, is there anything that makes your snoring worse? So, do you have allergies or anything like that? Okay. Okay. So, do you have any of the following? So these are simple yes-no questions. Okay? So, in the mornings, do you have a sore throat? In the mornings, do you have a headache? At night, when you first go off to sleep, do you have very vivid dreams? Do you find yourself having to get up lots in the night for trips to the loo? During the daytime, do you ever feel suddenly very weak? When you wake up, do you ever get the feeling of being paralysed, being not able to move? And in the evenings before bed, do you find you have to move your legs around a lot? Do they feel restless? Okay. Thinking about your nose, does it often feel blocked? And if so, which side? Left or right or both? So, during the day and at night, it's absolutely fine. Yes, I'd take both. Okay. And now tell me about your sinuses. Are they ever painful? Okay. Thinking a bit more now about your throat. Do you have a sore throat often? Okay. Do you ever have difficulty swallowing? Okay. Do you find that your voice changes at different times of the day, whether you're awake or tired? And do you ever get heartburn, indigestion, anything like that? Okay. Do you have a cough? Either sometimes or all of the time? Do you wheeze at all? Okay. And do you ever find that you have shortness of breath? Okay. In terms of medical problems, do you have any heart problems, anything like that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then thinking about your family history. Do you have any family history of sleep problems? Can everybody in your immediate family sleep well? Mm-hmm. In the past now, have you had any medical problems, any operations on anything at all? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now then, tell me about any medication that you're taking, and it may be prescribed or not. So it might be a nasal spray, or it could be tablets that are prescribed by the doctor, any treatments for anything, everything you can think of. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Do you smoke? And if so, how many a day? Okay. And how many units of alcohol would you say you drink per week? Yep, so we think about it in units. So 1 unit is a small glass of wine, half a pint, something like that. Okay. And then think about your bedtime routine as it is now. So what time do you go to bed and what time do you get up? It doesn't have to be the times that you're asleep, but the time that you go to bed and the time that you get up. Okay. Now, during that time, how many hours are you asleep? Yeah, I understand that it varies. When people have sleep problems, it can. Sometimes you can sleep the whole night through, sometimes it's an hour or two, so perhaps take an average, that would be useful. And tell me about the quality of that sleep. Is it good? Is it not so good? Okay, good. Thank you. Nearly there. It's lots and lots of questions, but it really does help us a lot. So, this is a sleepiness scale, which sounds rather lovely, doesn't it? It's the Epworth sleepiness scale. So, we're thinking about different situations, and in these situations, how likely you would be to fall asleep. It's like a 0 to 3. So 0 is you would never doze off in this situation. Number 1, there's a slight chance you might fall asleep. Number 2, a reasonable, moderate chance of falling asleep. And 3, a very high chance of falling asleep. And that will help us to know a little bit more about how your sleeping pattern is affecting your day-to-day life. Okay? So there's just lots of normal situations, and all you need to do is answer 0 to 3. Okay. Right, so the first situation, nice and easy, sitting and reading. So if you are sitting and reading, how likely are you to drop off to sleep? Okay. What about if you're watching television? So sat in front of the TV. Okay. So, if you're sat publicly somewhere but not doing anything, so sat in a meeting, sat at some entertainment with friends, things like that. If you were a passenger in a car for about an hour without stopping, how likely would you be to drop off? Okay. If in the afternoon you were to lay down for a rest, what would be the chances of you falling asleep? Next, if you were sitting and talking to somebody, much like we're doing now, what would be the chances of you falling asleep? Okay. After lunch, if you're sat quietly after lunch and you've not had any alcohol to drink, what would be the chances of you having a quick nap? Okay. And if you were in a car and you were stopped at traffic lights or stuck in traffic for a few minutes, what would the chances be then? Okay. Now I have to do the maths. I have to add those up. Nobody told me there'd be maths. You can listen to the traffic while I add up. Okay. Okay, that's great. So, that's all the questions. Thank goodness. What I will do is I will send those off and we will put those together with the other tests that you have done. However, on that simple assessment, I think you'd certainly benefit from one of our sleep trials for coming back in. So that's kind of good news. But what I'd like to do in the meantime is two things really. Firstly, I'd like to go through a quick list of things that you can do that will help you maybe sleep better from tonight, because sleep is so important. And then finally, just for fun, I'd like to give you a list of sleepy words that you might want to repeat to yourself when you're having problems dropping off. Okay? Fab. So, here are my best tips for you, okay? So, think about your bedroom. Is it comfortable? Is your bed the comfiest bed in the world? If not, start there. You'd be surprised how many people clutter up their bedrooms, or their bed's uncomfortable, it gives them a bad back or something like that. That's the first thing we would recommend you work on, outside of health issues. So try that one. Okay? Secondly, make sure you take time for yourself to relax before bed. It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people go from a hectic day straight to bed. And on that basis, you are going to lay awake, going over your day. So if you can, try and wind down for a bit before bedtime. Next one, don't look at the clock. If you have a clock in your bedroom and you use, say, your phone for your alarm, switch that clock off. I don't have a clock in my bedroom. The alarm will tell me when it's time to get up. I don't need to know what time it is before then. The next one, turn the lights off and turn your screen off, but not this one, because this one's busy giving you advice for a good night's sleep. But big televisions, things like that, try and have those electronics off. Make sure the temperature is good in your room as well. Not too hot, not too cold. Make sure you feel just right. Make sure you have a sleep schedule, and this one is tricky if you're having trouble sleeping. Try and go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time, even on the weekends. That one takes practice because it is so tempting to lie in on the weekend. Right, we can argue about this one. Get rid of the caffeine. Now, before we go crazy, get rid of caffeine in the afternoons and the evenings. I would not expect you to try and start your day without caffeine. I need a coffee and a Diet Coke before I can do anything at all. So I will never ever say start the day without caffeine. But try and end the day without caffeine. You don't want your brain stimulated when you're doing enough to keep it stimulated, without caffeine. So lay off the caffeine in the afternoon. In a similar vein, don't go to bed hungry. Obviously, don't go to bed on a wildly full stomach because you'll be uncomfortable, but if you need a snack before bed or some supper, that could help you to drift off. Use some relaxation techniques. Have you ever been shown any? There are loads to go out and search for. There are breathing techniques, meditation techniques, visualization techniques. There are all sorts of things you can do to quiet your mind at bedtime, ready for sleep. Take a bath, my favourite. I have a bath every night without fail. It can relax you very deeply to get you ready for bed, and it can become part of that routine that we talked about earlier, about taking some time to relax and wind down in the evening. And then my final 2 tips, you can either use some white noise to calm your mind, or, and it's my favourite tip, but it's right at the bottom, you can listen to or watch some ASMR videos on YouTube. I watch those every night before bed. Every night. And they seem to work rather well. What do you think? Do you think you'd be able to incorporate some of those tips into your nighttime schedule? Okay. So, finally, and I've done these alphabetically, don't ask me why, I've thought of some sleepy words for you to repeat to yourself if your mind is too busy and you're trying to focus it on something to help you sleep. Or you can listen to me repeat them back for you. There's only a few, but I quite like them. Tell me what you think, and tell me if there's any that I've missed. So, bedtime, comfort, doze, dream, drowsy, enjoy, 40 winks, good night, napping, night, peaceful, put your head down, quiet, relaxation, secure, siesta, sleep, sleepy head, slept like a log, slumberous, snoozy, sweet dreams, and yawn. What do we think? Not a comprehensive list, but if you find yourself lying awake, you can close your eyes and try and come up with a list of your own. Excellent. So, you're welcome to take away this list and this page full of tips for a good night. And what we'll do is we'll write to you over the next week and we'll ask you back and you can come in for a sleep trial. And what happens there is you spend the night here with us. We unfortunately hook you up to all sorts of machines and bits and pieces, but that gives us some really accurate information as to what's happening with you overnight. We'll match that up with the questionnaire that you've kindly filled in and the other tests, medical tests that you've done, and hopefully then we can come up with the best ways for you to get a good night's sleep. In the meantime, thank you for your time, and I hope you sleep